we've got another mock draft. This time we are picking from pick 5. This is a 12-team PPR 1 quarterback. Let's start it up. I will tell you all my thoughts as they happen. So we've got normal chalk stuff going here. At this point, we've got Jefferson, Barkley, Chase, Bijan gone. We are choosing between Gibbs and CeeDee Lamb. I would be just as happy with either one of these guys. Now, in the 104 video, I went with Gibbs, and for that reason, I'll do one with CeeDee Lamb here. But you could probably take that video, put them side by side, and we're going to get similar drafts. So I'm taking Lamb. We'll see how that changes things, and you can compare it to the 104 versus 105, because once we're past the first couple picks, we're going to end up seeing very similar drafts. Here, coming back to us, we got a great receiver. I'm going to go with Bucky Irving. I think, Bucky Irving is probably really the only option that I'm looking at here. I like Bucky over Josh Jacobs. I'm not taking a quarterback here in the second round. Ladd McConkey's not a bad pick here. And I would also consider Trey McBride. But I just like Bucky Irving and his upside. I want to have a good wide receiver, a good running back. I know I can get another tight end later. Like, we might even be able to get... I don't think I would hate taking Kittle in the third here. We'll look at it as it comes back to us. But if we take Bucky here, we could maybe get Kyron in the third. We could get JSN in the third, Chase Brown in the third. Those are all really good options that I'm looking at. And I don't see a receiver that I would take. Actually, let's try this. Because I was just saying how many good players I like in the third. We have a stud wide receiver. Let's just lock up Trey McBride. And then there were tons of options that we like in the third. And we'll see what comes back to us. I like Ladd. Well, Ladd just went. I like JSN. I like those guys the same. Now, do we go Breece Hall? James Cook? I might go James Cook because in round 4, I know it's a lot of receivers at this point. You know, we'll be looking at, although I would take Ken Walker at 4. Really, I'm only seeing one running back that I like coming back, Ken Walker as a top option. It's possible that Hampton could get to us at the 408 or Kamara, but I don't want to make that bet and have that be our top guy. So for that reason, I'm going to take James Cook here. Now, I like James Cook and Breece Hall very similarly, but I'm going to go with James Cook because I trust him a little bit more to be our top one. We'll go James Cook, and then we'll just be happy with what gets back to us. We're not really thinking any specific position. We'll evaluate it as they come up. Kamara goes early. I would have liked Kamara. I would have really liked Ken Walker as a second running back. This is tricky to be in a spot where we already took McBride, but Kittle came to us in the 4th. I don't think you're going to get that in a lot of leagues. And in this spot, I'm going to take Omarion Hampton as our second running back. I trust him as an RB2 for the year, but he could put up RB1 numbers. So if we get him and he just hits floor, I don't think it's crazy to say Hampton could be top 24, 25, 26, and getting him here is great because I think he has massive upside. I think if things don't go incredibly well, we're getting top 24. So I'm taking Hampton over Hubbard. I would take Hubbard in very rare situations here. I'm usually just going to shoot for this upside. And the reason I'm not taking DJ Moore, Metcalf, or Sutton or Devonta Smith here is because I know that there's great breakout candidates later. Like, we could take Golden, we could take Pearsall, we could get some safer options like Jacoby Myers, Calvin Ridley that I feel pretty good about as the second option. And no one has the type of upside here that Omarion Hampton has. Like, Chuba Hubbard's not going to be a top 5 running back. Omarion Hampton probably won't be, but he could be. So I'm going to shoot for that. Because if we hit on some of these breakouts, that expands us, that frees us up to make a lot more trades. If Hampton's doing amazing, we can down tier from James Cook and up tier at a different position. Here in the 5th round, we've got guys like Cortland Sutton, Xavier Worthy, TJ Hawkinson. I'm starting to feel this Trey McBride pick. Trey McBride could easily be tight end 1 this year, but I would have been happy with Hawkinson. I would have been happy with Kittle in the 4th. It's just how things go sometimes. So we'll take that in stride as we go. I would rather have, Bucky Irving and Kittle, but that's not what you always get. Here, Cortland Sutton, I know people are high on him. I'm not that high on paying an early 5th round pick to hope to get wide receiver 15 again. We've seen a long career of him not be there. Each year the Broncos keep bringing in more receivers. Like, he's probably the lead guy there, and he's probably okay. I'm not really shooting for a safe here. I'm just going to take a lot of big upside shots for wide receiver and hope that one of them hits and gives a solid wide receiver 2 production and a flex. So I'm going to go with Xavier Worthy. The Chiefs, they have a lot of room to grow their offensive production. When things were really clicking, 2022, the great Chiefs offenses, they were putting up about close to 30 points a game. And the past 2 years, it's been 23 and 22. So if you average that out and say, there's room for 6 to 7 more points a year, that's a touchdown a game. So that touchdown a game could go to Worthy, it could go to Rice, it could go to Kelsey. There's a lot of room for this offense to just get way better. And when we're thinking of the team that the Chiefs had last year, like, their offense was very hurt. So it makes sense that they weren't scoring as much. They were starting Carson Steele for a while at running back, and then old Kareem Hunt because Pacheco was gone. Xavier Worthy, as a rookie, did eventually move into a larger role, but they went into the year thinking it's going to be Rashee Rice. There were games where they were really relying on guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, Sky Moore, DeAndre Hopkins. That's not a good offense. If this offense is Worthy, Kelsey, Rice, Pacheco, that's way better, and they can get closer to that 29 points per game. And I think a lot of players can succeed in this offense. So I think it's a sneaky breakout candidate. I'm going with Xavier Worthy here. I could have also looked at George Pickens or Tet McMillan. I'm just not really taking the safer shot that I don't even feel is that safe in Cortland Sutton. Because we could get a player like Cortland Sutton in this round or next round. Here, if I'm looking for a safe wide receiver 2, I'd probably rather just have Jalen Waddle than Cortland Sutton. Jalen Waddle has many better years than Cortland Sutton, and these years are explainable. Here, 14 games played, that's just games started. Jalen Waddle left a couple of those games. Injuries don't really reproduce like that. In the games that he started and finished, he was wide receiver 21. I'll take that a round after Cortland Sutton because I think he has more upside. Other options here, Chris Olave. Chris Olave hasn't really ever had great quarterback play, so I'm not super worried about the situation this year. There have been players that have had concussions that now we don't think about as concussion risk players. Like Devontae Adams was a concussion risk player early in his career, and we don't think about it anymore. That could easily be what happens with Chris Olave. Or I could take Calvin Ridley here if I'm looking for a safer receiver who could have a breakout year. Calvin Ridley's been pretty good. He had a weird suspension situation, but 28-18, 27-22, like that's not that different. Or looking at this and saying Cortland Sutton had a breakout because they got Bo Nix, I'd be just as happy to get Calvin Ridley a round later and look for the same thing to happen. So I'm not really drafting Cortland Sutton. I've been talking a lot about Cortland Sutton. Let's talk about this pick. We could go Judkins. We could go receiver. We have a ton of options here. I'm not really thinking Baker Mayfield. Let's look at some other quarterbacks that could come back to us. We could get... I just keep ending up with Kyler. I'm going to see how I feel about my team if I go with Baker here. We've got the draft from the 4 where I didn't go Baker. I could have also gone Bo Nix, and I would feel very similar. Chris Olave goes. Here, let's just snag Jalen Waddle or Caleb Johnson. I'm going to take Caleb because I think I can get a receiver afterwards. I like Golden as a breakout. I like Pearsall as a breakout. So I'm going to take Caleb Johnson here because I know there are other receivers later, and I don't know that there are great running backs later. So now we've got 3 good running backs. We don't really need to be hunting for more of them. We'll probably end up with some ambiguous running back situations later, like in the 11th round, taking something like Javonte Williams, where we're not sure who the starter is. Matthew Golden didn't get back to us, but Ricky Pearsall does. I think in almost all of these mock drafts, I'm getting Ricky Pearsall or Golden or both or Ibuka. So let's see if we can. I would be very happy with Ricky Pearsall here. Let's just take. And for some reason, Rome Odunze is way down here. If this happens in your draft, like, yeah, we smash Rome Odunze in the 8th round. I was going to take Diggs just to see how it feels. Diggs is going around this range as well. But if there's a player, a good young player that has fallen this far, yeah, you just take it and you don't look back. And I'm happy that we did because I thought we would get Pearsall here. I like having Rome Odunze. And we'll go Odunze and Ibuka. My other option here would have been Colston Loveland. If Colston Loveland breaks out, or I guess Tyler Warren, well, Tyler Warren was gone. But if we had taken Colston Loveland here and there was a breakout, that frees us up to trade Trey McBride, who has a lot of trade liquidity. Like, people like him. You can trade a top tight end if you find another option to fill in. But if you get Colston Loveland, like, you might not, he's not always as tradable. He would really need to be breaking out. The one-er positions in a league like this, like, it's hard to trade a quarterback. It's hard to trade a tight end because you then have to take their quarterback or tight end back most of the time. So we've already got Baker. I would have been really happy to get Dak here in the 10th round. I bring this up in every one of these mock drafts. When Dak is healthy, he's top 12 and sometimes top 6. Here, he's one of the better pocket passers in the league for fantasy. Here, QB3, QB8, QB2. That could easily happen again this year. But we have a quarterback, and we're not going to go for 2. Other players I like in this range, in the 10th, I'd be fine grabbing Justin Fields here for top 7, top 8 upside. Drake May for top 3 upside. We were talking about ambiguous running back situations where I don't know if Jaden Blue is going to be the starter. If he is, that's probably valuable. We talked about taking Javonte Williams, his running back mate. Like, I don't know who takes over there. So I could see myself taking Blue here, and we'd hold him and see if he takes over the role, maybe like Bucky Irving did last year. Javonte Williams isn't an amazing talent, and we don't know enough about Jaden Blue to say if he's going to be great in the NFL. So we'll look at him on the comeback. And here I'll take a rookie flyer on Jaden Higgins. I would also consider Keon Coleman here, but let's see if Higgins as the wide receiver 2 in Houston hits. And if this isn't hitting within the first 5 to 6 weeks, we just cut him. We keep the bench churning. At this spot, like here, there's defenses and kickers and second quarterbacks. I'm not really looking to draft a second quarterback, especially this year. Like Jordan Love, he's going to put up the same numbers as Trevor Lawrence. There's a starter that we can get for our second spot. Here, I may still grab Drake May because the upside is so high, but is he gone? I don't think there's been a single one of these where I didn't draft Drake May. Because if this hits, he's a rushing quarterback. That means he has a great floor. They've added some weapons. If this works out, it's incredibly valuable. Rushing quarterbacks are, look at 4 of the top 5 guys. He runs, he runs, he runs, he runs. It's incredibly valuable for fantasy. And you can get him in the 11th round. So if this works out, that's fantastic. We'll keep going with the ambiguous backfield situation. We're either looking at like maybe Nick Chubb, Tank Bigsby, Jaden Blue. We're drafting this guy, and if it doesn't work out early, I clicked Trey Harris. I think I meant to grab Blue or someone else at that area, but same thing. If these guys don't hit early, I guess we'll grab Jaden Blue here. He might be injured right now. If that stuff doesn't hit early, we move on. These bench spots, we want to be picking up guys after week 1 anyway. So we see if we get a pop. It's just a 1 week check. Like, did it work? Nope, didn't work. Move on. That's okay. And then we'll grab a defense. If your league doesn't make you draft a defense or a kicker, don't. Draft one or the other and then try to do a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-2 trade to up tier somewhere else and then pick it up. Or we'll drop Jaden Blue going into week 1. It's just not that big of a deal. Some leagues force you to, some don't. Know your league. I think we've got a pretty solid team here. We have a ton of upside at wide receiver to fill in that wide receiver 2 spot. I'm fine with Roma Dunze as wide receiver 2 to begin the year or a flex. So we're probably starting like Ceedee, Worthy, and Odunze in week 1. That's fine. We've got great running back options. We've got great running back upside. One of the best tight ends in the league. Could be the best tight end in the league. And then big breakout candidates that free us up to make moves for up tiers. That's how we're doing a lot of these drafts. That's how you win your league. You got to be finding these guys that could break out and become massive difference makers in rounds 8, 9, 10. So if you want to see me draft from a different spot, there's probably a video of it available on the channel. There's probably a video on your screen right now. Hit subscribe. Thank you very much for checking this out.